Discover the future of gaming this November. Hear from over 90 speakers across the globe. Check out the newest Web3 games. Over 300 esports athletes and meet your future developers. The future of gaming is here. Don't get left behind.
The air is thick with blood. Allegiances have been tested. Those who remain stand no chance. In the wake of defeat, when your legacy lies in ruins, steel yourself. The enemy stands at the door. Only courage remains. There is no other choice. You must protect your house.
Hey guys, GM. What's good?
GN.
Hey, GM.
Let's go. Protect your house.
Hey, Fallen.
We must.
Yeah, so my internet's kind of spotty, but I'll have Fallen and ACLs here to take the lead on this one. I'll be the fan and the one asking all the newbie questions to get started on Blocklords this time around. So, David, good to have you here, man. How are you doing?
Good to be back. Happy to be here. It's a new day, a new dawn. Blocklords is out. YGG and the family is playing, and I'm really happy to be here.
Let's go. Fallen, how's it going, man?
Might help if I unmute my mic. Is talking into is like, oh, there we go. I'm doing good. Yeah, Sedano, happy to take the ball here and lead. I've been playing a whole heck of Blocklords myself, so yeah, I guess I could be one of the experts in the YGG guild for Blocklords itself. So David, if you just want to give a quick intro on who you are and what you do at Blocklords for the community here.
Yeah, sure thing. So I'm David Johansson. I'm the CEO and founder of Meta King Studios. We're the studio behind Blocklords. I've been in gaming for the last 10 years. Started off in Facebook games, moved into mobile, worked on a few PC titles as well, worked at Paradox on the Crusader King series, and got into Web3 about 5 years ago. I think it's 2018 when we had the idea for Blocklords. Kind of a lot of ups and downs through the market. Actually, the last few years, or basically living through two bear markets, inspired the trailer "Protect Your House." You know, like when everything's falling around you, you got to kind of rally your strength together. You know, get the team together and protect what's yours. Yeah, basically everything brought us to this moment where we're launching the game. Market's coming back to life. Web 2 and Web 3 is basically becoming the same thing. And we're here for it, and the game is ready to take on a lot of users.
Yeah, it's really exciting. Like, again, your game is out. You're still in beta, but the beta is totally open to anybody. Your data is not resetting, so whatever you grind now is that's it. You've grinded it. So there's been no better time to kind of jump in and get playing in regards to that too. And like you said, the market seemed to take a real shining to that beta, because all of the, I guess, the normal heroes, right, that you put on your farm all started going up in price as people were like, oh, I'm going to need these to grind out the season there. I was like, oh boy, because I think I have like 6 or 8 ones that I got for the last PlayStation that you get. I guess you could call it your closed beta or alpha there. So I've been using those, and those have definitely they're definitely a big boost. And I also use the one that I got from playing that last round and grinding out. So that kind of probably pulls us to maybe you want to talk about the seasonal stuff here.
Yeah, so as a way to kind of get things going and start rewarding our early players, we've launched our preseason. We call it the preseason because season 1 is definitely going to be a bit more exciting than this one. And the users who have been playing a lot, such as yourself, are actually able to use their EXP to get not only extra resources, but also a few heroes. So the basic raider, you need 10,000 EXP to get. And then the legacy raider, you need 20,000 EXP to get. No, I have that wrong. It's 5,000 EXP for the basic and 10,000 for the legacy, as you can see here. And the legacy raider, like the militia raider or the militia farmer, we called it, that was the reward last season, the closed beta season. Those are really the first warrior class heroes that we're launching. And this is really, the prelude for battles. So a little bit of an alpha I can give you. I may have leaked it a few other places, but we are launching PvE farm battles imminently. We're a couple of sprints away from that. It's already developed. We're just testing it out and improving it. But basically, you've been living a peaceful farmer life recently, but it's about to get a bit more hectic because bears are going to start attacking you. You know how we hate those pesky bears. Wolves are going to attack you, and Raider Vikings are going to attack you. So even though heroes have been quite important in terms of giving you a stat boost when collecting resources, and of course, the unique heroes are important for claiming regions as a ruler, as we introduce battles into the game, they're going to start becoming really, really important. So the preseason is a great way to kind of get an early hero. And of course, we're going to have a ton of other ways to get heroes as we move forward with everything.
Yeah, there's already so much to go on here in terms of just base building, but as you can see, I'm pretty close to that 10,000.
Oh yeah, you got it.
But then it's just a matter of farming that 20,000 gold requirement. But people should know, right? All of these lower ones here are essentially NFTs, right? That if for whatever reason you don't want to use it in game, you could go, sell them on the market to somebody else who will make use of them.
That's right. So the main NFTs here are the banners and the heroes. The blueprints are actually not NFTs for now, although later on there's a chance they will be. The blueprints are essentially cosmetics for decoration buildings that you're going to be able to have on the farm. So you're going to be able to build an outhouse. You're going to be able to add some flagpoles, so like repping your flags. For now, it's only going to be the Lions flag, but over time, you're going to be able to add like customized flags, such as the YGG flag, which I think would look pretty epic on your farm. So yeah, essentially you can have cosmetics for your farm. You can have banners, which do have utility for creating farmers for now. Later on, when the dynasty systems comes out, they're going to have even more utility. And they also are used to unlock adventures on the main map. Not sure if you've played around with adventures yet, Vaughn.
I have looked at it. I've just been trying to conserve some of my banners and all my other resources. I'm like, I can't add another...
Yeah. It does cost quite a bit of gold too, so I know you're saving up on that gold, so you're gonna have to be careful. But adventures are quite good. If you're a ruler, you can essentially set up an adventure on your land. For now, there's only one adventure available. Over time, we're gonna have dozens, if not hundreds of adventures available. And basically, the adventure will only become available on your region. So it'll be good for your region's economy because people will essentially pay gold to take part in that adventure. And this is part of essentially the communal gameplay we're looking to build.
Yeah, and just in regards to that, right, we were talking about two different types of like heroes. You have your normal heroes, and then you have your legendary heroes, and these legendary ones are the ones that can actually claim regions on this big map here, right? This huge, and I guess you could kind of like total war-esque, Civ-esque kind of map, right? Like it's huge. I can't zoom out any more than this, but there's all kinds, like there's still even unclaimed regions left over, waiting for legendary heroes to kind of come in and swoop in.
That's right, and that's the beauty of Blocklords. We're really building Blocklords to be this 10+ year long running MMO strategy game, and this is really now is the time where the founding fathers and the founding ladies of the empires, are being forged. But essentially, ruler NFTs or unique heroes, as we call them, for now, they're the only ones who can claim land as lords and ladies, right? That said, farmers can join a ruler's land, and there's going to be different benefits between different regions, right? So I don't know what the tax rate is in your region, but that's an example of something that's set by a ruler. City building levels are set by the rulers. Order and prosperity are affected by the rulers. And of course, the rulers can also claim, rewards from the coffers, which are essentially where all the tax revenue from a region amasses. Over time, we're definitely going to start adding a lot more competitive metrics competitive mechanics between the different regions, and that's really when the fun starts off. And like you mentioned Civ as an example, and that's a huge reference, and that's of course a big inspiration. Over time, there will definitely be wars between region, and that's when the fun really kicks off.
Yeah, for sure. Sedano, no ACLs. Any comments on all that stuff?
Yeah, honestly, I'm still a little bit of a beginner. I played early on in the closed beta period before you guys hit the Epic Games store. So, a lot's been going on. I know we've got our region set up. I started my farm early on. Gabby is our lord. And, it's very interesting how you can set your own taxations and basically have the freedom to rule your realm as you please, right? And yeah, we've definitely seen a large community here getting involved in this game. Like, we have a huge player base in League of Kingdoms. So this definitely translates. It's just a matter of more players being able to get access to this game. Right now, it's it's very intensive. It's graphics heavy, so not everyone can access it. But hopefully in the future, there's optimizations. Maybe you guys become more accessible and a lot more people can get into the game, or maybe even a companion style application where other players can still participate to some extent. So far the game is looking really cool. It's really polished. The strategy is there, and I like the fact that from the very beginning, like when a lot of us came in early on, it was free to play, and there was this whole concept, just how you talked about earlier, bringing in like the crypto market and just the culture a little bit with the storyline there and the cinematics. Like, you can feel it if you've been here. You can definitely feel that in the storyline, and I think that it's just really cool overall, right? So I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys continue to build this out. And I really do like the fact that you can like start from nothing and become a lord if you put the time in, if you really work your way up and get involved in the realms here. So it's a journey, but if you work hard, you can go from a farmer all the way to the top and become a lord someday. So yeah, I think the concept is great, honestly.
Yeah, a lot of great points. Definitely a thing that we're really hyper focused on right now is optimization. So already we've done quite a lot of work, whereas before, it was really only working with one set of graphics cards and a certain type of CPUs. Now we've actually expanded that quite a lot, and we have an update coming out next week that's going to make it even more accessible. So over time, I want anyone on an even 5 to 10-year-old laptop to be able to play it. But obviously, we do have nice graphics, so we started on the kind of higher end, and we're lowering our way down. And our plan is very much to have a mobile version. It's going to look different. Like you mentioned, a companion app is probably a good way to call it. And what we're doing now in these coming 6 months, we're really finding the features that people like spending the most time with, whether it's farming, whether it's battles when they come out, whether it's the stories and the adventure modes. And once we really find, the secret sauce for the features people like the most, those are the ones that are going to go to mobile, so that we can really create this hyper, interactive app that people will spend time on. That will be connected with the same economy as Blocklords.
Yeah, that would be
Nice.
cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just a follow up on that. Maybe my question really would be, since you guys are planning to have the quote unquote the companion app, right, or the mobile version, like how does that look like economy wise? Will these two economies be connected with each other? Unlike other like Web 2 mobile games where the mobile version is ultimately a separate game from what's originally released, right? Like how does it look like?
So it's very early to tell, and it could definitely change. So I'll just put that disclaimer there. But definitely it'll be connected to the same economy. So that means the NFTs, the resources produced, the timeline, the dynasty system, all of these like major economic settings or mechanics, you could say, will be the same on the mobile companion app. So that means you'll be using the same resources, you'll be using the same token, you'll be using the same NFTs, et cetera, et cetera. That's really a big part of the entire Blocklords economy, and that's actually why we started with farming, not with battles. A lot of people ask me, right, like, why didn't you start with wars? Everybody wants wars. And from the beginning, the entire team was aligned on like, we do farming first, because farmers, even though nobody looks up to farmers, they're actually the backbone of the entire economy, and they're the ones who produce the raw resources, right? So even if we were to do a game where that was just battles only on mobile, they would still be consuming and using and maybe pillaging the resources that the farmers are producing. And that creates essentially value in what the farmers are doing, because yeah, sure, the lords and the rulers, they're playing their politics, they're playing their wars against each other. The warriors, they're fighting and raiding against each other. But no matter what, all of the wealth, all of the production is made by the farmers, right? And this is something that we're going to stick true, no matter how many versions of the game come out on different platforms.
Yeah, it's a really good point that you touched there, David. I do think, right, like having a solid foundation for your economy will really be coming from those people bringing in the resources or farming the resources, right? And as you said, right, like there's nothing yet set in stone, but ideally you would be giving access to more people once you hit mobile, and also like those same people who might not be able to get access to like high-end PCs or run the game on PC very smoothly. At least they also are participating and contributing to the economy, which just gives like just a better macro for the whole game. Maybe before I hand over the mic back to Fallen, my follow-up question, David, would be, I mean, first of all, like, congratulations on the release. I love that you guys are in Epic Games. We have been seeing more and more Web3 games crossing over into Epic Games in the guise of a Web2 game. But yeah, I think it's a really good start. And maybe my question here would be, how does like the next 5-6 months look for like your go-to-market strategies here? So it's easy for people to access the game, play it, but in terms of getting the word out, getting more people interested in the game, like what does the strategy of Blocklords look like there?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and Epic Game Store does play a really big role in that, actually. When we were in the closed beta, we were doing a lot of testing with online ads, performance ads, just to see kind of what the metrics were. And back then the game was download only from our website, right? And we just for those tests, we just removed the NFT gate just to see, okay, how much would it cost us to get a download, right? And when it was direct download from our website, that price was maybe 20 was like a really good price, even for like for a region that tends to be at lower prices, and 30 was kind of the average price, which is extremely high, for any game, but especially for our free-to-play game. And as soon as we launched on the Epic Game Store, we did tests again, and now we were down to $3, $4, $5, $6 to get a user, which is such a huge difference, I can tell you. And it's really the first step in getting a lot of users into Web2 games. So even though that was definitely a targeted, there was a conscious decision to go on Epic Game Store so that we can reach more users, but the impact was really huge. And I'd say there's a few other games that are live on Epic Game Store. We're probably one of the first markets to really come out with a more full experience. In terms of how many users it allows us to access, it's already huge. And that's crazy, because the amount of users Epic Game Store has compared to Steam is nothing, right? So Epic Game Store is like a little baby fish, a sardine compared to the whale that is Steam. So we know Steam is very anti Web3 these days, but we still would like to start a conversation with them. We're getting a store page up. We want to drive wish lists to Steam and get users on Steam at least to know about us. So that's definitely something that we're looking at in the coming months, is to begin a conversation with Steam and to get a store page up on Steam and to figure out, okay, what exactly is it going to take from our side as a Web3 game to get actually approved and be allowed to launch the game on Steam. So our target would be to, when the game is ready for full launch, which would be sometime in 2024, that we actually do go on Steam, where we can take on what we started on Epic Game Store and reach much larger scale, essentially. So that's a big part of it. On another note, you guys saw the Protect Your House trailer that we showed you at the start of the stream, right? That you guys showed at the start of the stream. We actually have another one of these that's coming out very soon. So again, I'll drop some alpha there. So the first trailer was about protecting your house when everything's falling out around you. And the second part is all about kind of killing the negative influence or killing the bear market, so to say. That's going to be a big part of the second trailer. That's launching very soon, and we're doing a pretty large campaign centered around that. And the season 1 of the Blocklord game, the season 1 battle pass, will be focused around the bear warriors, right? So the warriors who killed the bear will be the kind of the main focus of season 1. So that's what we have coming for the rest of the year, along with a bunch of battle features. Early next year is all about dynasty systems. So that's when your NFTs are going to start dying, and you need to start getting married with your heroes. You can forge alliances with other players. You can have kids. Those kids can actually be trained into different professions, right? So you can kind of like raise your kids to be the whatever you need, right? If you need warriors, you raise them to be warriors. If you need politicians, you raise them to be politicians, or farmers, et cetera, et cetera. So that's where the breeding mechanics of games like Axie and CryptoKitties really come to life, because we can add so many stats to it, so many traits to it, and so many visual elements to it. And yeah, after that, it's really all about kingdom wars, right? Creating kingdoms creating wars between different kingdoms, between different guilds, and let's see who becomes the emperor.
I think something that's on all our minds there is, you said your heroes die. I know this is a mechanic we chatted about a little bit before last time there, but like how does that work? Because you're not burning the NFT that you have, right? That's just not going to be usable in game, other than like having to, like, I guess breed it or have children, right? Is that the case, David? Are you still flushing that system out, or can you even leak anything on that right now?
I can leak a few things. I mean, we're definitely pretty deep in development on it, and there's a lot of decisions being made. That said, I'd say one of our main focuses right now is making the heroes more important in games, because we think that's what really makes the game. That's what's going to make the economy really go to the next level, where Web3 needs to go. So right now, our main focus is making the heroes more important. But the dynasty system, what's for sure is your heroes will die. You'll be able to get married between different heroes and get kids. Over generations, the kids will tend to get better and better. But there's always randomness, and it's not sure that if you marry two heroes of a certain stats, there's going to be a random element to it. Essentially, once your hero dies, a lot of that value, a lot of that strength, a lot of that power is transferred to the next generation, right? Like in the real world. So that means that you as a player, you're really incentivized to get married and have kids, right? You're not incentivized to kind of just sit on the NFTs, not play with them, not use them in the game, and not interact with the dynasty system. That said, because building a dynasty, it is about the past, about the future, and about the present, right? So having the lineage of your entire dynasty will add a boost to the power of your dynasty. So basically, you'll be able to become more powerful the more powerful your lineage is, and the more noble your family is, right? So you can get married between different families and get some boosts out of that. So it's all about kind of creating the perfect family, creating the perfect kid, and the legacy will become stronger and stronger. And essentially, to kind of summarize, dead heroes will be usable to kind of stake in your cities, in your farms, to get powerful boosts. And the more dead heroes you collect, essentially the more powerful your legacy will be. I think that'd be the best way to summarize it. Also, obviously it's going to depend a lot on how the game Blocklords evolves over time. But in the future, my dream, is to make a game where only dead heroes are acceptable. So I kind of call it Blocklords Valhalla in my mind. And essentially imagine like a Souls-like game, but you can only play it with dead Blocklords heroes, essentially. I'd love to make a game like that in the future.
Oh, in summary,
experience, right?
Exactly. In
Exactly.
summary, then, at least, you know, even if your hero dies and you have the NFT, it's not the end. It's not useless. There, you have thoughts on how utility will be used, whether it's staking within the Blocklords game, or, you know, something there. So I think that was a big question. That probably explains what this age is on these heroes here, right? I'm
Yes,
assuming that.
exactly. Essentially, once the dynasty system becomes live, they will start aging. So that's why we have some
Blocklords.
users who have been, you know, collecting only 18-year-olds. So like, we have one Italian user who like collected an army of 18-year-old virgins. You know, to each their own. But there's a lot of like
Preparation.
potential for fun gameplay.
Might be
Cool.
a little hidden mechanic there before people catch on. That guy was probably ahead of the curve there. He's like, okay, I'm gonna grab all these while they're cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, you've got to take in the lore into consideration, right? Like, this is a medieval style, you know, realm. We're looking at like Game of Thrones here, right? So maybe he's thinking the right way. They could be very valuable for developing your noble house and pursuing the path, right? You are defined by your deeds in this game, so you gotta think carefully, plan it out.
Yeah,
That's
we
the way,
actually
that's the way.
have. Yeah, exactly. We have a question here actually from Freaky Frog, who's been in here, who has his own legendary hero here. I'm actually playing in his region because we hadn't set up the YGG region. Yeah. He's asking, will we have dynasty for every NFT we use, like 50 NFTs in game, 50 dynasty trees, or only for main hero? If so, how many will kids and following generations work for your common lumberjack squad that is not your main character?
Yeah, so very good question, very specific question that I can't answer directly. Essentially, you will have a primary house, right? And you will create your house, so that will be your main family. And as part of your main family, you can have several heroes. So in the same family, you can have several heroes. That said, you will have one primary character. So in Forest Fire's example, it would be Lord Forest Fires creates his house. Then he has his first. So you'll have the inaugural couple, if you will, for that first house. And then you can have kids with Forest Fire and that other, the other hero that they married, and have kids with that. And you can also adopt other heroes into that house. Users will be able to have several houses, but this is something that we're really working on. That's where it gets really complex, right? Because we end up with users who have 50 different houses as this example. So we're trying to avoid that. So the game is going to be heavily skewed into every player having one house, at least at the start. That said, we're probably thinking of a system where users can split their houses into sub-houses. So that's also another element we're doing. So to answer the question, we understand the need to have multiple houses for users. It'll be primarily one house at first, with the option to expand over time. That's essentially how we're seeing it.
Hope that answers your question there, Forrest. Yeah, Forrest, me and him have already been talking about alliances, especially for the upcoming PvP. A lot of people have been like, oh, YGG has 5 legendary heroes. What are we gonna do? Forge alliances. Yeah. which I think again is good. It'll be interesting. Are you planning on having like any actual alliance mechanics or stuff like that, so that, you know, for whatever reason one region doesn't have to fight another region, and, you know, for whatever reason some rogue player doesn't screw up that alliance?
Yeah, definitely a thing. So for example, if once you create a house and someone marries into the house or gets adopted into the house, any kid that's created from the house will be part of that house, right? So then if someone else buys a hero from, you know, for example, House Sedano, and you know, they get married, I'm now allied with House Sedano as long as that hero is alive, right? Even though that hero now becomes part of my house, we're now allied. That means that I can't go and raid you and you can't go and raid me as long as we're allied. That's essentially how we're thinking of building up the system. So it won't be like a huge, like, you have to fight for me if I get into a war. It's more like, I can't attack you, you can't attack me until the living, you know, people who are married, until they're not living anymore. That's how we're thinking about alliances in general. There will be also the kingdom system. where essentially multiple lords and ladies come together and elect a king, right? That's essentially how everybody thinks monarchies, in medieval Europe were like this authoritarian thing. It was actually slightly democratic. It was very elitist, right? Where the nobles all essentially agreed on who was the king, and if they didn't agree anymore, they would rebel, right? So we're thinking a very similar system like that, as okay, if you're a few neighboring lords and ladies, you essentially come together, you elect a king, and now you can go and fight against other kings, right, together. So those are the two main ways we're thinking about alliances.
Yeah, quick follow-up question. So are there any bonuses for one, mistresses, and two bastard children?
You know what? This is a system that we want to do, but it might be one of those that we think it's just going to be too messy. So we might have it as a few pop-up events or adventures, but that's the thing. And a lot of people have asked it, and it's always a question when we're designing it, right? It's like, oh, well, what if you get divorced, or what if you do this, what if you do that? And there's so many ways to mess with the marriage that we're gonna have to be kind of tough. That either you die or you stay together.
Yeah, but I mean, kidding aside, is like for other games, right? Like there usually are, party bonuses or group bonuses, or maybe even in this case, like clan bonuses that like special factions, or like let's say people with a specific NFT that could be shared with a group get the specific bonus. Like, how does that look like in terms of families in Blocklords?
Yeah, so creating your family will definitely give you a bonus, right? So it will be your house bonus, and so from being a part of that house, you will get some benefits, whether it's boosts, whether it's stat boosts, whether it's some better heroes. Those things are still being designed, but essentially, the longer your lineage is, the more noble your family is, the more powerful your family is, or aggressive, or good at war, or good at farming, or whatever, the better your house. We call it house tradition for now. So you will essentially, that will be a new soft resource in the game, like house power, and you will essentially be able to use that to unlock either new unit types, new squad types, new boosts and bonuses, and different advantages will be unlocked that will be available for your family only, right? So that's essentially how we're seeing that, is that the more powerful and the more long-lasting your family is, the more bonuses you will get for that house specifically. That mainly affects you and all the heroes that are, because remember, you can still sell those heroes to other people, or rent them out, to other people. So other people will also get those benefits if they get those heroes. That's the main one for shared bonuses, I would say, for the houses. But then what you mentioned is definitely, such as party bonuses, that's definitely what we envision with the rulers and the regions, right? So when you do something within a region as a ruler, ideally that is going to have more and more impact on everyone in that region for both positive and negative effects, essentially.
Super interesting. I love it. I love the dynamic, really. Even more specifically, where lineages have, or lineages like carry an impact to the quality of gameplay for newer people coming in, right? So it's, maybe it's because like the way you guys are building out Blocklords is that the game is basically, it's Web3, it's on chain, that it will be here for a very long time, and those. The time and the effort that the earlier players have been put on can benefit other people down way down the road. So super interesting how it's being built, and yeah, we're looking forward to seeing this rolled out like in the near future. Like, cool stuff, David.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's really the benefit of launching this way, because a lot of people say, oh, you should wait until the game is perfect to launch it, or you should wait for this or that. But we really felt, let's get it out there as soon as possible. Let's get the feedback. We received tons of feedback from community. Not all positive, some negative, and we're really taking it into consideration. We're fixing bugs on the fly. And also it's impacting how we build future system, because we see, okay, users like this, they don't like this, they like this, and that also impacts how we develop in the future. But that's exactly what you said, is we're building this for the long term, and the most important part is that each step is handled at its own pace, and then we kind of weave it all together into this tapestry that is going to be the Blocklords universe.
I love it.
It's cool. Yeah, like honestly, one of my favorite things is that you have all these layers for the back end of things, right? For the marketplace, for how all of these different assets are supposed to work with the game. You have the future sight of, like the multi-layered experience using different platforms and different ways to participate in the game with the same assets and within the ecosystem, right? But the whole thing is wrapped up in the storyline, which is so cool. Every aspect of it, like from the breeding to, thinking about the future of your house and the quality of every aspect of this realm. And then even just like putting the idea out there that your dead heroes will have a function in the future as well. And then of course it's going to be tied into the storyline in a creative way. There might be the Blocklords Nether realm or something like that, right? So it's really the coolest thing here for me is how every technical aspect of the game is intertwined into the story. So that's really like my favorite thing here. From a gamer's perspective, that is really cool.
Yeah, and that's something that's also quite a conscious decision as well. Because throughout, it's been now 5 years, right? Since I had the first idea of Blocklords, and we worked on the first version. And 4 or 5 years, I've been hearing people tell me, "Oh, you need a background story. You need this really, you need this Lord of the Rings history section." And I've always been no, because essentially I want to build the game in a way like we present the mechanics and users use the mechanics however they want. And now where the game is live, users are playing. Yes, we've done a bunch of like little hero bios, and we've done the trailers that you saw. So we've done all these little mosaics of stories that are really independent, but no major thread that ties it together. And that's actually on purpose, because now we're at a point where we're live, we have players, we have people interacting, we have people with heroes, we have people who are going to create heroes, right, when the Dynasty comes out. And I think now we're really at a point where we can start working with our community, with our players, to really start creating these more large scale histories of the Blocklords universe, and religions of the Blocklords universe and politics of the Blocklords universe. And so that's really what we're moving towards. And you could say that's probably going to be the first elements of a Blocklords DAO, is going to be working with our community, with our founders group, who are most vocal players, who give us a lot of great feedback. We're probably going to start working with them quite soon to like, hey, what's the name of the Blocklords map? What's the name of this region? What's the name of that region? That's something we could let rulers decide. And over time, what I'd like to do is really build this universe with our community, and using the trailer maybe as a proof of concept as well of the type of content we can create, and maybe go to a Netflix or go to an Amazon Prime and say, hey, look at this story that we created with our community, with our players, with our game. Let's turn that into the next Game of Thrones. That's something that I'd really like to do coming years.
It's cool. Yeah, it's like an ongoing player-driven on-chain game of Dungeons and Dragons. It just continues.
Forever.
Awesome. It's cool.
Yeah, big plans, big dreams. It seems like you're headed in the right direction. 5 years of building already. Probably be around for another 5 at least, right?
10. We're aiming for 10 more years.
10 more years.
EVE Online is a big inspiration, both for the game itself and for the economy and for the way of creating an MMO community. They're a huge inspiration. They're moving into Web3 now. I met the founder a couple of times this year already, shared a lot of ideas. And they're going on 20 years now. So that's really what we're aiming for, is to make a persistent game that'll live forever.
Yep. We did a little bit with Eve as well. Can't speak obviously too much on it due to non-disclosure agreements, but yeah, it's interesting to see that such a big player is eventually going to be taking the leap into Web3. And your game is quite different than them. Some of the mechanics are a little bit similar, but totally different. Like like eras, right? Space versus medieval. That being said, we do have, I think, two questions here from the community. One of them is from Mao Sama, and he just wants to know, do you have any ideas of how like these battles are going to take place? Like, is it going to be a 2D RTS style? Is it going to be Total War-esque, right? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Definitely, yeah. So I mean, that a lot of that is already developed and in testing mode right now. So definitely 3D. I mean, we want real battles. That's always been the goal with Blocklords. So the first layer of battles will come really shortly. I've been saying that for a while now, but we're really taking our time polishing it because it can cause quite a few bugs. But the first element will be while you're farming. It's been very peaceful so far. A bit stressful for the more high level players. When they're managing 30 squads. But now there is going to be there are going to be attacks on your farm. So wolves will start attacking, bears will start attacking, raiders will start attacking. They'll steal resources, they'll steal squads, they'll steal stuff. It's going to be pretty annoying, not going to lie, but at least it'll keep things exciting as you're in the middle of the grind, and you will get rewards when you kill your enemies. So that'll be the first layer, and that's essentially developed, coming out really soon. After that, we will have stronghold battles. Stronghold battles will be essentially, if you go to the world map, there will be new points on the world map that users will be able to attack. So on your region, you will have strongholds, forts, you could call them. So bandit camps, maybe you could call it as well, that you will be able to attack. When you choose to attack a stronghold, you will be taken to a new 3D map. This 3D map will be designed by our game design team. There'll be a few different, fortifications basically, and you'll be able to create armies of squads. So that's when we're also adding essentially squad progression. So we're adding a whole new heap of squads for battles specifically, right? That you'll have to recruit. This is also going to add a lot of utility to food resources, because if you've been playing for a while, you'll notice that there's a lot of utility for wood and stone and, advanced wood, advanced stone bricks. There's a bit less utility for resources like meat, grain, bread, milk. That's not going to last. There is going to be a lot of demand for those resources soon when we unveil the squad progression system, which will allow you to recruit battle squads. With those battle squads, you will now go to stronghold battles. As I mentioned, we'll load a 3D map with different defenses set up, and you'll have X amount of time to kill all the troops and take over the stronghold. If you take over the stronghold, you will be able to acquire a new resource, which I'll keep secret for now, that will be able to help you quite a lot during battles, essentially. So those are the two very short-term battles that we have set up. So this is stronghold battle should come this year. Don't quote me on this. Development's difficult, but we're really aiming for this year for stronghold. And following that, we will have more PvP battles. So those will be real-time PvP battles, similar to stronghold, but real-time. Those are a bit further in the future. And then the ones I really care about are the Kingdom Wars, where you will actually see multiple battles between different factions, and also the rebellions, where farmers will be able to rebel against their rulers. Those are still quite far away, so I can't go as deeply into the mechanics of it.
Exciting. So, yeah, a lot of people are going to be like, oh no, I'm going to need to amp up my computer here. But surprisingly, like I said, I am playing on like a 15-year-old PC that's pushing a 970, and as you can see, the game is running. So, you don't have to have the top of the line stuff. You can tweak the settings. I don't actually think I have my settings. I have my settings on low with all of my effects off, and honestly, I haven't had any problems with the game running. Like, it doesn't really lag. Obviously right now I'm running like OBS and obviously stream right now, and it's still going, right? And I'm, like I said, I'm on old hardware here, so you do not have to have the top of the line stuff, and that's probably thanks to your optimization team.
That's good to hear. Yeah, it's funny. Some settings it works with really old laptops, and some of them it's newer computers, but they have the wrong setting, the graphic card. That's the problem with PC, is like there's such a wide spectrum, so you really have to do a lot of work to make sure it works everywhere. But we're definitely on our way, and by the end of the year at least, I do feel confident we'll be playable on most PCs and laptops out there.
Yep, exactly. Like I said, I haven't had a single issue. I haven't had a single crash. The only thing that irks me is that one bug I told you about, which is happening right now, where I cannot send somebody to a building.
Oh no, yeah, that's an annoying one.
That's the only thing.
yeah.
That's the only issue, because it breaks the gameplay loop. It's like, I gotta restart the game.
Restart. Sorry about that.
Oh, no worries. It's all part of playing a beta, right?
Exactly.
Not the worst bug I've taken care of. Noe says you have something there, bud?
No, I was gonna just say the same thing. Honestly, it's been smooth. Even in the early stage, like the closed beta stage, there weren't any real issues, right? And at that time, I was running it on a laptop that I had for 7 years, right? And it was still, running at a pretty good quality. So, yeah, it's great to see. Honestly, I can't wait to see you guys open it up, make it more accessible. I'm curious, really, about these other layers, like the mobile aspect and how that's going to be built out because I see a lot of different games in the space doing it. So everyone has their different approach here. Like Star Atlas has their thing going on, and Illuvium has their own concept, and there's various games taking on this approach. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you guys build it out and how everything works together here.
Thank you. Yeah, and that's the fun part of this space, right? Like it's so new, anything's possible, and there's a lot of teams that are just exploring. And same with us. We're exploring, we're trying a lot of things, but overall, we just like what we're building. So we'll just keep building it until we break through.
For sure.
Yeah, it's really
looking good so
amazing
far.
what guys have been able to put in. Yeah. On that note, maybe one question before we close up the stream here. Kindats and Forest Fire were kind of having a little chat in there. They wanted to know if there's any thoughts about updating the gold prices for these rewards here. They just felt that they're a little high based on it. They said they could go to the market and get them cheaper.
I mean, we did check. It's not that easy to get it cheaper on the market. I'm not the boss of that. Boss Nikki is the boss of that. So I suggest they tag him on Discord and get him to do it. It is early in the game. We don't have enough use cases for gold. This is literally one of the very few things to spend gold on. So we do feel like there should be a gold price to claim the rewards. I can't promise. It's going to be up to Boss Nikki, so I'm not going to fall into that. But I would say it's worth getting the rewards. It's worth completing the preseason pass. Like, make sure to complete the preseason pass if you have the time. If you don't have the time, just try to get as far as possible. That'll definitely pay off in the future.
Well, exactly. Right now, like you said, before all these other mechanics and bears and people start raiding all your resources, this is really your chance to have a smooth, uninterrupted opportunity to grow your place before adding all these additional mechanics on top. So yeah, if they want to go ask for rewards, like David said, go to their Discord and tag
Nikki.
Tag buddy. Tag Nikki, exactly. But on that note, we are almost at the top of the hour here. Any closing thoughts, David, that you want the community to know? I know we have a wrap-up stream, so we'll probably be talking at the end of the week again.
No, I just want to shout out that I'm really grateful to players, to our community, to our founders, and to you guys, YGG, because you guys have been really active in game, and it's great to see, and you've provided us with great feedback. And yeah, I just want to thank everyone who's playing now for bearing with us. We know there's a lot of stuff to fix, and we're definitely on it, and we're taking it seriously, and we're spending every day on this game. And thank you for making this game better, and we will keep working on it. That's all I really want to say. And thanks YGG for doing what you do for the space.
Thank you.
No ACL, Sedano?
Honestly, it was good vibes. I enjoyed the game so far. I can't wait to see it open up. I can't wait to see the war. That's going to be really cool when guilds start battling it out. So yeah, big things ahead, honestly. Can't wait. Let's get it.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, on my end, just want to remind everyone that, David, you as well, we have Twitter Spaces for the upcoming YGG Web3 Game Summit happening this Friday with Blocklords and David again as well. So we're going to be shaking things up a bit there for everyone listening at home, right? So we will be doing the usual updates from Blocklords, any upcoming news, but at the same time, we're also going to be talking about, trends that we've noticed, and where we see, the next couple of months going for Web3 gaming. So super excited for that. And David, I'll see you there. But for everyone else at home, right? So we also have another stream right after this one. We have our parallel boot camp with Dissy and Agent K from Monster Tilt. So everyone watching at home, stand by. We're just going to be switching streams, but we'll see you guys in a bit. And thanks, guys. Thanks, David. Always a pleasure to hear from you.
Thank you. Look forward to next time.
Cheers, guys.
Together we play.
Cheers.
Together we play.
GG's.
Discover the future of gaming this November. Hear from over 90 speakers across the globe. Check out the newest Web3 games. Over 300 esports athletes and meet your future developers. The future of gaming is here. Don't get left behind.